Yeah, but he would have saved the people. Because God did not say, now you have to send them because I want to test them. God said, if you want, you can. But I'm warning you in advance, if they go, they will be in a very difficult, tested situation where they could muff it up bad. It's not going to be an easy, clear trip, right? Which God could have made it a clear trip. All they would see is beautiful things, and they wouldn't have noticed any giants, and they went and they could have said that great piece of cake is super duper. But God set up the trip that they saw things that they could misinterpret badly. And God warned Moshe. That's part of the whole problem. God's warning Moshe. I said it's a good land. I don't think they should go. If you want, you can. But I'm telling you, I'm going to set up a situation where they can be tested and they might lose the land. Now you go do whatever you want. And Moshe didn't want them to go. According to Rashi, Moshe's use of reverse psychology was so that they shouldn't go. He doesn't want them to be tested like that. He'd rather talk them out of going. Because he knows that if they go, it's going to be really dicey. He's going to pray for Yeshua, right? But instead of saying to them, no, you can't go, he uses reverse psychology, and it doesn't work, which is going to be one of the Ramban's questions. Where do we ever find Moshe Rabbeinu using reverse psychology to stop them from doing things? If he didn't want them to do things, by and large, he just said, don't do it. All right? But that's how Rashi learned it, because Moshe's response to the people is Vayichav Beinai Hadavar, right? Moshe said. And what you came to me and asked to send spies, and I told you it was a good idea. Well, why did Moshe tell them that when God clearly says, I promise you, they're gonna goof up if they go. So Moshe knows if they go, they're gonna goof up. So why did Moshe stop them? He tried using reverse psychology. That's how Rashi learned it. So far, so good. Everybody clear? Everybody good? Yes, sir.
With the donkey analogy, it's predicated on the fact that the donkey owner knows how good or bad the donkey is.
Right.
Moshe doesn't own the land of Israel, has never been in the land of Israel, so why would him telling the people, don't worry, you go, yeah, it'll be fine. Why would that?
Well, I guess the analogy probably would be that, they know that Moshe knows, they know that Moshe is the communication with God. You're right, Moshe has never been there personally either, but I guess he was hoping that if they see that I'm so sure, that I'm convinced that what they will find in a great land, that, but if they would see that I was nervous, if they say, no, I don't want you to go, why not, that would have caused bigger problems. It's the famous problem. Good. Now let's see the Ramban. There's a lot more to do. But I want to set up for the rest of the story the clash between Rashi and Ramban, because as we learn the story, we're going to have to learn it Rashi's way and the Ramban's way. There's a big, huge, long, massively long Ramban on this. If you have it not in the back of your source sheets, but sort of, if you keep on turning all your CHUMASH pages, be it in Hebrew or English, eventually the CHUMASH will come to an end and you'll see a page which says Ramban on it. If you have the old Hebrew, it'll look just like this, except without my little red note. Okay? If you have the old English, you keep on turning, and you should.
With just the Hebrew?
Yes, I do. Okay? If you turn in the all English, you will also find a page which says Ramban on it. You should have in the all English. No? Right? Not the Hirsch, that's in the very end, right? But the Ramban, right? There's a Ramban there somewhere. It says Ramban. Fine. Remember, you want the Ramban, chapter 13, verse 2. The Ramban, chapter 13, verse 2. The all Hebrew. You have it right here in the Hebrew, right in the middle of the photocopied page. In the all English, I don't know where it is, but it should say somewhere Ramban 13, verse 2. Right? Everybody got it? Okay, y'all with us, Hebrew or English? Follow along in either one. If you want, you can try and strain your eyes and read in the Mikros Gedolos, but I'm a really nice guy for all you people, based on my advanced age, and we photocopied this is a photocopy of the Rabbi Chevelle edition of the Hebrew Ramban, which is nice in square print and a little easier to read than the little tiny print in the Mikros Gedolos. Says Ramban, we follow along inside. First, he's going to quote Rashi as he always does. Why does he always quote the Rashi first? Why doesn't he assume you would just look in the Rashi yourself? Because he lived before things were printed, and he had no idea whether you had a copy of the handwritten manuscript of Rashi. So he quotes it for you. Okay, that was an easy question. Okay, good. Just see if you're on your toes. Shelach lecha nashim. So first he quotes Rashi. L'da'atcha, send it on your own thinking. I'm not commanding you. If you want, Shelach, go ahead and send them. Why did God tell him this? The Jewish people came and said, let's send spies in front of us. The Moshe Nemar, as the verse says clearly, you all gathered to me. Moshe asked God what to do. Amar, God said to him, I told them it was a good land. Shneimar, it says, I will take you out of the afflictions of Egypt, to a good land. Chayeyim, I promise, I'm going to give them the opportunity to make a mistake. But in this matter, I believe in the matter of the spies, so they should not inherit it. Lashon Rashi. This is a quote of Rashi, Midivrei Agadah, and he took it from the words of the Medrash Agadah. To which the Ramban says, V'yesh kan lish'ol. There are questions here we have to ask against this Agadah. Before we do his question, was Avram Avinu thrown to a burning furnace? Yes or no?
Midrash.
Was the Avram Avinu thrown to a burning furnace?
Yes.
Yes. How many people in this room heard the story that Avram Avinu was thrown into a burning furnace? Lovely. Does it say so in the Chumash? No. It's in the Agadah, Midrash Agadah. Baby Moshe was in a basket and was drawn out of the water by Pharaoh's daughter. That's what the Bible tells us. How did she get that basket out of the water? Anybody know? Anybody? Her arms. How many people heard that her arms stretched out like a rubber band miraculously? You heard? Yeah. Does it say that in the Chumash? No. Where does it say that? In the Medrash Agadah. Okay. Bilam had a donkey. The donkey talked to him. Right? Are you familiar with that? That Bilam's donkey talked? Does it say that in the Chumash? Yes, it does. Right? Okay. The question is, where does the Agadah get its midrash from? Do you have the ability of this soon to say, well, the Medrash Agadah says that Abraham was thrown into a burning furnace, but I don't have to accept that. I don't think it's true. I think the story is different. Are you allowed to say that? Mm-hmm. Yes, you are allowed to say that. Where did the Agadah get its information from? Where did the Medrash get its information from? Anybody here wear tefillin? Yes. How many people with tefillin in this room are purple balls? How about green, like discs? Black squares, right? Does it say in the Chumash what tefillin look like? No. Where does that information come from? Medrash. Can you say, well, the Medrash said, black squares, but yesh kan lish'ol, I have questions on black squares, I want to do purple balls. No, you can't say that, right? What do we take on Sukkot? A lulav, and hadassim, and a rova, and then esrog. Does it say in the Chumash esrog? No, it does not. It says pre-Eitz Hadar. How do we know this in esrog? That's what the Medrash tells us. So how come some Midrashim we can argue on, some Midrashim we can't? Besides which, where in the world did the Medrash ever come up with the idea that Moshe Rabbeinu was thrown into a burning fire? Like, why did they just sit there one day and say that? Right? Why did they... right? Who just, for what reason did anybody sit around and say, you know what? When the daughter of Pharaoh took that little basket out of the water, someday they're going to make a movie about this, and well, it's really cool because her daughter's, Pharaoh's hand stretched out like a rubber band and got it. So why don't we make up that story? Like, why would they make that up? Right? By the way, one opinion is that her hand stretched out like a rubber band and she got the basket. Another opinion is that she sent her slave to go pick it up. Third opinion is that she actually sent her slave away, afraid that her slave would rat on her, and she picked it up herself by wading into the water. Now this is a historical reality. It either did happen or didn't happen. In 120 years, we're all going to get upstairs and you're going to meet the daughter of Pharaoh. And the first thing you say is, what's with a hand? Did that really happen? And she's going to tell you. And it's either going to be true or not true. And if it's not true, why did the rabbis say that? For what reason? Where they not be told? Why they do that? Right? If they had a source, then they had a source. If they had a source, then that's what happened. If the rabbis say that's their tradition, that's their tradition. That's what happened, that's what happened. The rabbis tell us that's what happened, that's what happened. The rabbis say use an etrog, not a pineapple, that's what happened. Right? Fill out a black cubes, that's what it is. Right? God asked Moshe, and the Jewish people came to Moshe. Moshe asked God, even though it doesn't say so in the Chumash. It doesn't say a lot of things in the Chumash. Right? The Agadah tells us, and we accept it. When can you ask? When can you not? Where did the Agadah come from? Where did the Agadah get its information from? Are all things we're going to deal with later on. We will touch upon it because I'm feeling not everybody has clarity on it. But the more and more we do Rashi by and large explains the psukim based on the midrashim. He usually does not take his own original approach. He gleans from the midrashim and explains it that way. Interesting, you have to see there's many different opinions in the midrashim. Why Rashi chooses one midrash over another midrash is a study in and of itself. But this is what the Agadah says, and the Ramban, for whatever reason, feels that he has the right to ask questions and will eventually disagree, and eventually he will say Moshe never asked God nothing. He didn't ask God anything. The Agadah says he did. Says the Ramban, well, I say he did. All right? Now, What would the Ramban say to Avram being thrown into a furnace? Would he say, well, the Agadah says he was, and I say he didn't? We have to worry about that later. So that's what's coming up now. So I want you to appreciate what the Ramban is doing here when he sits here and picks apart the Agadah and tries to point out why it doesn't seem to hold water, and his version of the story is going to make more sense. Do understand it's not just a version of the story. There's the Agadah, Medrash Agadah's version of the story. He still feels he has the right to do that. So let's see his problem. Okay?
Does he have something else that is supporting him?
No. Well, yeah, logic. He's going to say a story just makes sense. For Yesh Kan Lishol. So we have to ask questions here. First question is like this. Im Kain, if this is how the story went, Moshe Atzmo Chata Ba'inyan. Moshe himself sinned in this matter. Why? Shenemar, this is Veitavei Adavar. Moshe told the people it was a good idea. How can Moshe let the people go and do it? Okay? So Moshe sinned. Why do we see him being punished for it? Now, obviously, what would Rashi answer to that?
He was.
Reverse psychology.
He was reverse psychology. He didn't sin. He tried to stop them. He wasn't successful. But he did what he thought would be the best way to stop them. He thought reverse psychology would be a better way to stop them than simply saying no. It didn't work. It's not like he didn't try or didn't care. He didn't just stop and say, yeah, great idea, I know God said it's bad, but don't worry about it, it's good, right? He did try and stop them. So Rashi would answer. Of course, the problem being that after all is said and done, and did he stop them? No, he did not. So there was some slight failure of leadership on his part. He did what he thought might have worked, but in the end it didn't. So to a certain extent, all right, he didn't stop them, all right?
So it's bad judgment.
Bad judgment. Something the Ramban would like to see somewhere along the line. Moshe should have been castigated somewhat for why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you try to stop them in a different way? In the last analysis, you didn't stop them, so, and you knew it was bad, and you were the leader. If the reverse psychology didn't work, try something else. And yet we see Moshe seems to be totally faultless in this. Right, we don't find Chazal or the Chumash at all faulting Moshe for letting them go ahead with this stupid idea. And he adds to this, says the Ramban, In Cain, if so, Moshe Asmo Chata B'Inyan, he sinned in this matter, Shenemar V'Ita B'nei Adavar. As it says clearly, he said, the matter was good in my eyes. Besides which, V'Lamamar Lahem B'Inyan Haaretz HaTovahi Im Ra'ah. Why, when he clarified their mission, we didn't do this yet, he specifically told them, here's what I want you to look for, everybody. I want you to see if the land is tovahi imra'ah. Is it good or bad? Why'd you say that? Why, when you sent the spies, did you say, go see if it's good or bad? As if you yourself said, listen, 50-50, go do that. Right? Achar shenemar lo mitchila was told him from the very beginning. Shehi tova urechava, that it's a good and broad, wonderful land. Okay? It would appear that he himself didn't believe it. How could he say that to the people? So again, Rashi would say this all part of that reverse psychology. He dafka say, go and see if it's good or bad, making as if I know, it's all part of his reverse psychology speech, but in the end, he told them, I want you to check out and see if it's good or bad. So, okay, we're going to check out and see if it's good or bad. So they were looking to see if it's good or bad, as if it's 50-50 and it could go either way, when that's not true. So there's some kind of a problem here. Next, Theo. Besides which, the way Rashi is learning the story, Ma'asu HaMeraglim, what did the Meraglim do wrong? Ki Moshe Mar Lahem, Moshe said to them, Uritem et ha'aretz ma hi. See what the land is. V'etama yoshev aleha, the nation that's dwelling there. Echazaku harafeh, are they strong? Are they weak? Hama'atu imrav, are they few? Are they many? V'amar lahem, and he told them, ba'arim ha'machanim imimivsarim, regarding the cities, are they open cities or fortified cities? He asked them those questions. They were supposed to come back and lie. At the very least, they had to come and report back what he commanded them. So what did they say wrong? They said the entire truth. There's fortified cities and there's giants. What are they supposed to say? They're not fortified cities and they're not giants. They were fortified cities and they were giants. And they saw the Amalek and they saw the Canaani. They said the truth. They didn't say anything not true. Right? So ma pisham ma chatatam. What is their sin? Kishamrula, when they said Ephes kiasa anverim mitzvot gedolot. But the nation is very strong and the cities are very fortified. Right? It was true. Cities were big. Cities were fortified. Right? He didn't send them to be spies. Okay? So what did they do wrong? Okay? Now, before we go on, don't lose your spot. Okay? Oh, let's just finish the sentence. I realize it's not in the middle of the sentence. Right? Right? Did Moshe send them to say lies? He didn't send them to say lies. They told the truth. Now, before we go on, don't lose a spot here. Go back to BaMidbar to the story of the spies. Go to verse 27, chapter 13, verse 27. Page 160 in the all Hebrew. I don't know where it is in the English. Chapter 13, verse 27. This is where the spies come back. So they came back and they showed everybody the fruit. They sapru lo vayomru. They told everybody and they said, Banu al arth asher shlachta, we came to the land that you sent us. V'gam zavat chalav udvashi. It is flowing with milk and honey. V'zeh priyad. Here's the fruit. So far, so good. Ephes ki am, but the nation is very strong, which is true. Hayeshe bars. Harim, B'tzurot, Gedolot, Ma'ot. The cities are very heavily fortified, which was true. V'gam yulidei ha'nakreinu sham. We saw the descendants of giants there. Also true. Amalek Yoshev Eretz HaNegev. Amalek is in the south. Chiti, Yevusi, Amori, Yoshev are there in the mountains. The Canaanites are on the Yam on the west. Valyana Yardenim by the Jordan. And that's what we saw. And of course, by the time they finished, they goes, oh my gosh, this is crazy. There's giants, and there's Amalek, and there's Canaani, and there's Yevusi. We're out of here. And everybody starts screaming and shouting because verse 30 begins. Vayas Kalev Sa'am, and Moshe and Kalev quieted down the nation. What did he have to quiet them down for? Who said they made noise? They must have freaked out. Says Ramban, they didn't say anything wrong. Moshe asked them if the cities were fortified. He asked them if the people are strong, and they answered the stupid question. They're supposed to lie? What's their problem? Now, if you continue reading the story, verse 30, so everyone's screaming and shouting. Vayas Kalev et ha'am el Moshe, and Kalev quieted down the nation towards Moshe. Vayomer, Kalev, who's one of the good guys, says, don't worry, alone now lab Yerusha, so let's go up, let's inherit it. Yechol nuchala, we were able to do it. The Anashim Asher Eluimo Amru, and the other 10 spies who went with him said, pardon me, we cannot go up against the nation. Ki chazaku mimenu, they're stronger than us. So some people would say, there's their sin, because that's an opinion. That's not an objective fact. Giants and fortifications is an objective fact. Saying we can't battle that, that's an opinion. No one asks their opinion, they're just reporting the facts. So that's how some people respond on Rashi's behalf. Problem is, right, that you're right. It's an opinion, and maybe they shouldn't have said it, but it's just repeating that same Amalek and giants, right? But that's how some people answer on Rashi's behalf. You're right. The original speech was not a sin. This was a sin. Right? After they made noise. And Kalev then said, they're telling the truth, but don't worry. And they said, no, we can't. That's where they loused up. Some people say. But it's a little strange that the original speech was actually fine, right? According to Rashi, because that's what was asked and that's what they answered. Maybe Moshe shouldn't have asked, but he asked, right? Now, others, let's continue reading in chapter 13, verse 32. They then keep on talking. And then they brought out a bad report, a lashon hara about the land that they spied out of Bnei Israel Lamor, saying, Haaretz asher avarnu bala turota, the land that we went through to spy. Eretz ochelet yoshvei. It's a land that eats up its inhabitants. The the people we saw there are very strong, they're very tall. These giants, but we were like grasshoppers. So some people say, oh, that was it. What's this Eretz Ochelet Yoshvei? Why do they say it's the land that eats up its inhabitants? You want to report you saw a lot of funerals? Say you saw a lot of funerals. Don't assume that the funerals are because the land eats up its inhabitants, and that was the problem. So still, it's not the original speech, which sort of assume the original speech was what killed him. Go back to the Ramban, he points that out. Let's go back to the Ramban.
Sorry, are you saying the problem was that they were melodramatic about it?
Well, no. Again, the Ramban asks on Rashi, the way Rashi's learning the story, right? What did they do wrong? The original speech they gave only said the truth.
Right.
Bad truth, unhappy truth, truth that freaked them out, but truth it was. So some people defend Rashi by saying, you're right, the original speech was okay, because they had to answer the questions, but when everybody started crying, and Kalev said, they told you the truth, but why are you so afraid? We can beat these guys. Then when they gave their opinion, oh no, we can't, that was the problem. Or when they kept on talking and also said it's a land that devours its inhabitants. All they had to say was what they saw. They saw funerals. And that could be because land devours its inhabitants, and because they only do funerals once a year. Right? Just say we saw funerals, and let other people figure out why there were so many funerals. Don't describe it in bad. Like other people say that's the problem.